Hello, it's Aaliyah from the Song of the Winds. I hope you're doing really well. Today's video is another monthly mystery deck. It's time for episode 9 in the series. And today is quite special because I don't have just one box. I have 2 boxes. So apparently these are connected. Apparently they're related in some way and I'm meant to open them up together. So I'm not going to argue. Let's do it. But before we dive right in, if this is the first time that you've watched my channel and you're probably asking yourself, what is a monthly mystery deck? What happens is each month my husband surprises me with a tarot or an oracle deck that he's purchased on my behalf. I've got absolutely no clue what it is. Sometimes they're really great, sometimes they're not at all to my style, and you get to see my genuine reaction of when I unbox and flip through the deck. So stay tuned if you like tarot or oracle decks and surprises. Okay. I'm ready. Let's do it. I'll do the big one first. Oh. And she's in. Okay. It is the... It's the zombie tarot. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting a zombie tarot. Okay, so if this is the zombie tarot, what's this? What? I don't understand how they're connected at all. They're both awesome, but like, this is the other thing. It's like, color your own tarot deck. Which is amazing, but I don't know how that relates to zombies. Does he want me to like draw zombies all over the cards? So I'm like super confused at what his where his head was at when he placed the order, and I've actually got like a little tear up. I'm like laughing so hard. It's so bizarre to me. So this must be one of life's little synchronicities because I recently got the Housewives Tarot. I know it's been out for a really, really long period of time, and I've sort of always been curious about it. There was a few cards that I really liked, and I got it in a buy, sell, swap group, and it was a good price, so I'm like, yep, I'll just do it. And when I was sort of researching the author of the deck, I noticed that they had actually written the Zombie Tarot, and I was thinking how interesting they did, you know, decks on those kind of topics. And then, yeah, it's one that my husband buys for me, so isn't that interesting? So I've never even seen a flip through of the Zombie Tarot because aside from The Walking Dead and probably a few other like zombie movies, I'm not like a massive zombie fan. Like, I think they're cool, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so the box opens like this. Very nice. And it's a matte finish box. Quite sturdy. It's got lots of, I tell you what, they come up with some pretty catchy little lines to describe the deck. Zombie Tarot, high caliber divination. I like that. Inside the box, the guidebook is on top and it's in a nice like landscape design, which is quite cool. All right, and it's velvet lined inside the box. It's quite nice. Oh, the back of the cards are really cool. Yeah, and so it's not shrink wrap per se, which I appreciate. It's just a little sleeve, which is much less plastic than normal. I appreciate that. And these cards are cool. So what do you say we do a quick flip through and you can get a bit of an impression of the card. These are the card backs. They're not reversible, but it's still a really, really nice design on the back. And so I've shown you every card, but I wanted to show you the ones that were like immediate standouts for me as being like a really interesting way of interpreting that card. In this deck, the Pentasaurs are called hazards. So you can see in that card that he's just so completely fixated on what he has. He's absolutely not willing to let these poor other people into his bunker because he doesn't want to share what he's got. It's just such an interesting way of describing it, you know. He's got more than enough to survive, but he'd rather ignore other people's suffering than actually try and help. The King of Swords. So this guy has seen some shit. You know that he's got it under control. So much so, he's made it a sport. And I think what I like about this card is it does highlight the duality of the court cards. So while there's a lot of, you know, negativeness about the King of Swords, he obviously does actually know how to get a situation under control, and there's some caring buried in there. It's just sort of projected through the lens of the only way they understand interacting with the world, which is like dominating in a sense. And this Ten of Swords is really cool. Look at that, disemboweled. Mate, it's not going to get any worse from here. You have gone through the worst. Yeah, it's all over now, you can rest. But he's gone out fighting, that's what I like about it. You know, where his arm has been cut off. He's obviously been fighting with it. You know, he's giving as good as he got. This Four of Wands is hilarious. It's so on theme with this deck. Look at that zombie party. Yeah, bro. It's like a teenage kegger, but it's with zombies that have obviously, yeah, broken into people's houses and just killed them, and now they're just having like the best time. And this Five of Cups has got actually a lot more insight into it than I would have probably expected from a zombie deck, from a theme deck. So you can see the mother and son there, they're crying at a graveside. Their father, husband has obviously died, and they're focused on that, but little do they know, because they're not actually looking in that direction, but he's still around. It's just not the same kind of existence that he had before. So all is not lost, it's just the way that you perceive it. I thought that was actually a really interesting take on that card. The Tower. Oh boy, if ever there was a depiction of putting your faith in something, just expecting it to protect you forever and not realizing that things can just come crashing down at any moment, that is a very, very good description of the Tower. You know, and it's catastrophic. They obviously thought they were safe. They obviously thought they'd taken every precaution. But you can't control other people. And I guess it's just a reminder as well that no matter how much we prepare and we plan and we pray and we hope, sometimes shit just goes really, really badly wrong. But I think this is my favorite, the Hermit. She's like, nope, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to read, I'm going to chill out. It's time for my self-care. Who cares what's going on outside? I'm fine. It's all about me. And I'd never actually really considered a bit of selfishness with the Hermit before. I hadn't actually thought too much about like what the Hermit was leaving behind and how those, you know, people could be impacted by the Hermit going away on this journey of self-discovery. So, pleasantly surprised with that deck. Genuinely surprised at how much I'm actually going to enjoy working with it. I think it'll be more than just a curio for me. I think I'll use it like partly for study and an expansion of my understanding of the cards, and partly for readings. Like I really think for me, this deck would be really good for when I read for myself. Probably some types of clientele that would be into it, but yeah, it's surprisingly deep. I wasn't expecting the depth to be there. So the Zombie Tarot, I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. I think it's actually really, really cool. It's a lot more insightful than I would have assumed. The cards are a lot more interesting than I assumed it was going to be. I I expected just gore for the sake of it, but I mean, there's some cards that are like that, and I haven't quite grasped, just with my initial flip through, the nuance of that violence, but I think I will in time with working with it. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool, so 8 out of 10 from me. Okay, and then for the other parcel, this is the Color Your Tarot, and it's published by Los Cabero, and it looks as if it's you colour your own mages. Yeah, you colour your own mages. Fully shrink wrapped. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Actually, when you take out the cards, it's quite cute inside the box too. And then these are the card backs. It's got kind of a Christmassy feel to it. Maybe it's just the colour choice. This is actually by Barbara Moore. So it has that little introduction, and then it goes into the typical associations for particular colours, and then keywords for each of the major arcana. So I can only assume that the purpose of the activity is to look at the associations for the keywords for that colour, and then colour them into that card and form your own understanding of that particular card, because it doesn't really explain what to do. Just that's it for the instructions. There are none. It's just the introduction, and then the remaining pages are in different languages, as you always see with Los Cabero decks. But I just would have thought, with like such a big name being attached to it, Barbara Moore, that it might have a little bit more a little bit more from Barbara Moore. Anyway, having said that, I think this is actually quite cool, and you know, and it's different. I'm not doing a lot of like mindfulness type things at the moment. Everything is really quite business driven, and while I find that personally relaxing, even though it wouldn't seem like it, you know, always having a to-do list and always wanting to do this, I get a great sense of achievement from actually ticking off things at the end of the day that I set out to achieve. So for me, in a way, that almost is like a self-care activity. But my husband thinks that downtime really should be downtime, and the way that I look at downtime is kind of weird. So I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to encourage me to have a little bit more of a chill out. Anyway, I think I'm rambling now. So I'm going to leave you here, and then there'll be a little bit more information at the end, which will talk you through the changes that we're going to make to the monthly mystery deck series, and we'll have the special guest as well. So I'll see you in a minute.